恩雨移動，一個傳達祝福嘅流動平台，一點鼓勵，一點關懷，一點安慰，隨傳隨到。快啲嚟掃一掃呢個 QR code，下載最新推出嘅恩雨移動 Apps， 免費攞迎新禮品啦！
佢喺香港同美國都係出色嘅體操運動員。
You should try out for the Hong Kong gymnastics team. This is like the most physical pain I've ever felt. I was the best in my school for gymnastics. One of the top athletes in the state is what set me apart, is what made me unique.
後嚟再接觸撐竿跳運動
pole vaulting 係佢好大嘅興趣，因為佢有體操底嘛。
Going to the collegiate level, I am the bottom of the chain. I just couldn't perform because I was too anxious, having a really big panic attack. Just associate a lot of my identity with winning and being good, and winning means I'm good.
呢一條高270尺，距離西雅圖市只有10分鐘車程嘅斯洛雷米瀑布，係美國嘅國家歷史遺跡。呢一條每年有150萬人嚟到觀光嘅瀑布，成為咗西雅圖頗負盛名嘅景點。同斯洛雷米瀑布一樣，喺西雅圖出生嘅何珞宜 Candace 喺運動方面都頗有名氣。佢自細就接受體操訓練，經常代表學校出賽。
Being part of high school gymnastics was so incredibly fun.
佢以前喺 high school 啊、middle school 咧好著名嘅，喺學校啊，喺體操即係華盛頓州都好著名。佢係一個成日都贏嘅人嚟㗎。
I am representing my high school, and we want to win these meets. We want to win at the county level, and we move on to the district level. We want to the state level. It's like you're working your way to be the best of the best at the top. I was the best in my school for gymnastics. One of the top athletes in the state, and is what set me apart, is what made me unique. And there was one time I really, really wanted to win, first place all around. Even the newspapers before the competition were like, is she finally gonna win first place? Part of me was in big anxiousness. I just wanted it so badly, and I didn't. So I think that was really disappointing.
練體操咧對佢嚟講係一個好 demanding， 即係要求佢好多嘢，最少2至3個鐘或者4個鐘去練每日嚇。咁體能上面其實係好 tough 嘅。練完體操翻嚟嘅時候，呢度痛嗰度痛啦，爸爸就會同佢捽啦。其實咧喺間接係剝削咗我哋啲家庭生活嘅。但我哋見到咧，即係訓練到佢嘅自律性好強，同埋你都訓練到佢面對困難嗰個解決嗰個韌力。
能夠養成堅毅嘅性格，係因為何珞宜從3歲開始就接受體操訓練。
嗰陣時大概係3、4歲左右，帶佢去參加啲體操班，1個禮拜1次嘅。咁但係咧，佢就一去到咧，已經見到佢咧就係嗰啲平衡啊、coordination 啊嚇，嗰個協調係做得好好，咁佢好 enjoy。咁跟住就去到個地步，就係教練同我哋講話有冇諗過俾佢接受長期訓練啦？因為佢好有天分，佢覺得佢好有天分。大概咧，佢玩咗年零，即係攀爬嗰啲普通班咧，跟住大約5歲到，我哋就俾佢試下入隊去參加呢一個訓練咯。開始學啲唔同嘅難度啦，喺地上面嘅體操啦，跟住咧就係降啦，上個巴度啦，咁跟住咧就係平衡木啦 ，balance beam 啦。
到8歲嘅時候，珞宜隨家人移居香港。回港之後，佢亦繼續接受體操訓練。
So when I first started, it was really, really hard because the training culture is so different from America too. I don't like to act. I remember my first day there, and then this is the most physical pain I've ever felt. So I remember crying a lot, and then people would call me hambao. So I always had to pray for God to give me strength. I think the coaches were like, oh, I think you doing very, very well, then you should try out for the Hong Kong gymnastics team. So I tried out for it, and then I got in. So when I got in, that's when practice twice as often. And after that, I did more competitions.
除咗要適應新嘅體育文化，樂兒喺異鄉仲要面對全新嘅生活環境。
It's a new place, it's a new city, new language, a new school. I didn't start at the beginning of the school year. I got put at a desk where there was no one next to me. Someone was calling me stupid. I remember feeling very lonely and really friendless. So then my mom was like, you can pray for a friend. So I was like, oh, okay. And then God answered. There was a new girl who came to the school too. So I was like, oh, she's new. I'm new. We can relate. She sat right next to me, and then we shared the same last name, and we immediately became like best friends. I found that she was Christian too. We were able to like share a lot of like our faith and a burst of like hope, like, okay, I can survive here.
適應咗校園生活之後，樂兒亦要面對喺體操隊裏面人際關係嘅挑戰。
When I was in Hong Kong, that's when I started to actually like stand on the podium, and I'm like, this is kind of nice. I did enjoy winning, but sometimes I also learned that like winning is not glamorous because your teammates end up not being happy for you.
有天分嘅緣故咧，佢可以打敗啲師姐，咁啲師姐就會發脾氣咧，喺個點度咧踢啊，咁俾好多唔係幾好受嘅嘢佢啦。咁同埋我哋一路教阿 Ken 嘅嘢咧，其實玩體操唔係就係想去贏咁簡單，喺個過程咧點樣可以咧將上帝俾你美好嘅一啲性格咧，佢表現出嚟。
My parents taught me like how to be like a humble winner. If there was nobody here, then there's no like first, second, or third place.
佢都好受教啊！咁佢通常贏頭嘅3名，咁佢就從4、5、6名啊、7、8名咧，佢哋就會去握手咯。
樂兒12歲嘅時候，同家人返到美國升讀初中，同時佢亦繼續接受體操訓練同參加公開比賽。但係去到高中，佢只係參加校內嘅體操隊。
I think when I came back, I tried to get into it competitively as soon as I can. There was like a lot of pressure in it. It just wasn't something that I wanted to subject myself to. I quit competitive gymnastics in a private gym. That's kind of how I transitioned to high school gymnastics.
學校體操隊嘅練習比較輕鬆，樂兒有更多時間嘗試其他運動。有人就咁樣向佢提議
Gymnasts make good pole vaulters, so you should try pole vaulting. So I was like, okay, like I'll try something new. And I really enjoyed it, and it was the just right challenge and thrilling enough. For some reason, I ended up being better than everybody else who was there. I made it to the county level competition.
咁突然間佢揾到咧，原來 pole vaulting 係佢好大嘅興趣，因為佢有體操底嘛。咁所以佢跳 pole vaulting 嘅時候咧，佢個掌握嗰個快速度咧係比人高嘅。
升讀大學，樂兒成為咗學院撐竿跳代表隊，但係成績就遠遠不及中學時代咁卓越。
去到大學嘅時候，來自四方八面好叻嘅人都入咗大學，可能有啲唔係本州㗎嘛。咁咧佢先見到原來咧我係一個大池塘裏面嘅細魚。
Going to the collegiate level, I quickly learned that I am the bottom of the chain. You could be as hardworking as you are and be as perseverant as you are does not equate to you winning. It does not equate to being successful at anything. I think that's when I also experienced a lot more mental barriers to the sport where I just like couldn't perform because I was too anxious, too scared. Because I witnessed like a pole vaulting accident during a competition, like it put like a big fear in my heart. Sometimes I couldn't even like start running down the runway, like stick my pole into the box. That on top of like the larger psychological fears of like, oh, if I don't do well, what's gonna happen? If I don't compete, what's gonna happen? Led to a lot of like mental pressure and like anxieties. But I don't want to quit because this is all I know.
樂兒以為堅持落去就能夠克服焦慮，可惜情況唔單止冇改善，仲越嚟越嚴重。
I could have been probably diagnosed with just like anxiety disorder and like general depression. I call it disordered eating to the point where I'd be like so concerned about my weight and like what I ate. And so I was just like worried about like a ton of things. I do remember a moment where it was like really, really bad late at night. And then I like went into my closet having a really big panic attack. It's like someone crying like the world is like ending. It's really, really hard to breathe. All your senses are just super heightened and you feel like extremely trapped. And there's like no way out.
今日樂兒同父母一齊預備午餐。父母都係虔誠嘅基督徒，所以樂兒一出世就喺信仰嘅薰陶下成長。一家人經常祈禱，除咗感恩之外，亦會祈求上帝幫助。特別係樂兒喺大學參加撐竿跳運動嘅時候，
有時佢打電話翻嚟同我哋喊嚇，即係佢覺得好辛苦啊，好焦慮啊，咁咧就同佢一齊祈禱咯。同老公話不如叫佢唔好喊，咁但係我諗係佢自己嘅 decision 咯。做父母只可以就係膝頭功課，即係祈禱啦。Sorry.
I've tried everything else and nothing else really works at that point. And I just remember begging God, I was like, please take this away from me. The panic attacks are too much. I don't want this anymore. I don't want to carry this anymore. Like I didn't really have a panic attack ever since then. So I'm like, I think God actually really listened to me. I think what changed is like, I had a friend at that time. He was like, you know, I really encourage you to like read the Bible if you're not doing that already. I'm gonna give this a shot because I'm really, really desperate and I've never actually really read the Bible regularly. When I started actually reading the Bible for myself and spending time with God in that way and just learning about who He was in general.
喺大學時期，樂兒因為忙於接受撐竿跳訓練同專注學業，冇同教會朋友聯繫。當佢喺情緒最低落嘅時候，就參加咗一個基督徒青年聚會，從而得到好大嘅幫助。
I was able to like sit there and just cry about like how I'm so stressed out, how I'm like not performing, just associate a lot of my identity with like winning and being good, and winning means I'm good. That's kind of like who I saw myself as, who goes after hard things and like also does things that most people don't do. And everybody like never judged me. They like loved me through it. They prayed over me. Oh, I'm gonna get like super emotional about it, but like they were so patient with me. Church family actually even came to my competitions, just like very encouraging for me. And that's kind of where I was like, oh, like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I like win or if I don't win. No matter how I perform here, that's not who God says I am. Like I'm already loved, I'm already forgiven, and it's gonna be okay. So that's kind of how like my last year of college, like I was able to just like enjoy sports again, not being fearful of the food eating so much anymore, and like also what my body looked like for an athlete. Those final 2 years is kind of where I actually really started developing my personal relationship with God. And then I would always pray before I jump. And I would like run down the runway and it's like, I have no fears because my eyes are on Jesus. And like God's peace is like so transcendent and like overflowing.
因為感受到基督徒朋友俾佢嘅愛同接納，樂兒對運動同生活開始重拾喜樂。
I like was at a competition that was like a season-ending injury, and I ruptured my Achilles. Like the moment I fell down to the floor, like I knew that I wasn't going to compete again. Obviously, it was very, very devastating, but it didn't break me. I could say that for sure God has done a lot of work in me up until that point. I like remember like even like coming home on the airplane, like I was just like praying to God and I felt a lot of peace. Like, you know what, like, that sucks. But like at the end of the day, like that like God's love is unconditional. He sent His Son to die and save us. And like that's really like who you are.
樂兒嘅腳傷可以話終止咗佢運動員嘅生涯。對於熱愛運動嘅佢，身心靈要作出好大嘅調整。
That was like a year, multiple year process, learning how to walk again, learning how to like become strong again, kind of coming to terms of like how my body will just never be the same, it won't function the same. But I've never felt less pressure, to be honest, in my life. And it wasn't like there were any more physical demands on me. the beginning of a new journey of like reminding myself. Right now, I literally cannot say that like pole vaulting is any part of my identity. I think I held on to it too tightly for too long.
唔再被運動員嘅身份所束縛，樂兒可以更專注學業。樂兒喺大學選修生物，因為佢想成為一位職業治療師。呢個決定係喺佢入大學之前已經萌芽。
I wanted to go into OT school. That was like an interest of mine when I started college because my parents went on a mission trip and they met an occupational therapist. Like mom was like, I think you would really like what she does. I think it's like fitting for like your interests and wanting to do a career that's like a desk job. And so I like just ended up like shadowing the lady that was on the mission trip, like her job in America. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. She gets to work with kids. Like it's like, it seems really fun. I love working with kids. So I was like, okay, nothing else really in this world speaks to me as a career. So when college actually started, I chose biology. If you want to go into the medical field, then you do biology, essentially.
到大學第3年嘅暑假，樂兒參加咗一次醫療宣教，結果進一步肯定佢成為職業治療師嘅志願。
My impression was that she was eager to learn. And whatever I asked her to do, she'd do it, no hesitation. I saw that she had a great interest and her love for children just came through.
We met a lot of people who are unwanted. They're unloved. It made me want to like pursue OT more and to like see it more in like a bigger perspective of things. Like not just as like a career, but like as a way to kind of literally use your hands and feet and like let God use it to serve others and to love others. And ultimately like with the goal of like to bring the hope of Jesus into their lives and bring them to Jesus as well.
大學畢業之後，樂兒決定用1年時間裝備自己，準備升讀職業治療學科。佢除咗再次參加醫療宣教之外，仲去到唔同嘅機構吸取經驗。
And because I helped out at like an autism center the whole summer, I gained a ton of skills and like knowledge of how to work with kids with autism. I like worked as a special education like aide essentially for a kid in elementary school. So I did a bit of that while I was like applying to schools. And I got into school and then I went to UBC. I think getting to UBC was like definitely God orchestrated. It was like a very like last minute decision that I decided to do. I applied super late. I think I applied in May. My parents were really excited. Wow, like UBC, it's so good. Like it's like ranked good. And I'm like, I have never heard, like I've heard of the school, but I don't really know the reputation. To me, I was like, it can't be that good. Like I literally did not even put in any effort and I got offered an interview. I took the university that I really wanted to go to. I took that essay, I changed the words, and I just applied to UBC. That's just so weird. I was like, Lord, you're so interesting because I worked so hard and like the easier schools like I couldn't even get into, but then one of the top schools in the nation that I really wanted to get into, I get waitlisted for. But at that interview, I think that was when like I felt more, like even preparing for the interview, I was like more invested in this school, like just looking up the program and what its values and missions were, and even like the staff, I was like, this seems like a great school actually. Like I think I actually really want to go here. Quick turnaround, like I got in like July, I think, because I applied in May, interviewed in June, got accepted in July, moved there in August, and started school in September. So it was very, very fast.
樂兒喺加拿大英屬哥倫比亞大學順利畢業，之後佢返到美國開始投身兒童職業治療嘅工作。初入行嘅樂兒發覺工作有唔少挑戰。
I work at a pediatric clinic, so we just have a lot of kids who are 18 and under, and we help them achieve a lot of the things that they want to achieve and have challenges doing right now because of like neurodiversities or physical limitation. Coming into this job, I think I expected like to be impactful to people and be able to help people. But I think what I'm realizing is that like when I'm not able to help people, or when I don't have the answers, or when like nothing seems to be happening, like then I get very discouraged. Like I feel really lost sometimes at my job. At least more recently, I was like I don't really know like what I'm doing. And I think like I can think about the healthcare system and the interventions and the treatment processes like really critically, and like a lot of that just makes me like stop, and I'm just like, what is going on? Like, what am I doing? Like, I've been seeing like these people for so long now, and there's no indication of like what I'm doing is helpful. Like, I think I rely on a lot of like successes or like benchmarks and things that are achievable for me to like know that what I'm doing is helping. But what I've been having to do a lot more recently is to like remind myself and like preach to myself like, oh, like even the successes that I have in this job still does not like impact who I am and like how much of my worth. It's not even like the things that I do that really matters, but it's like, how do I like take care of myself and take time to take care of myself, and also like take time to be with the Lord? And I'm like, this job is like not serving that purpose to me like whatsoever, because it's just like so constant and so hectic all the time. And I think like the only way I get through it really are those like mini prayers I do in between. And I'm like, God, I need you right now. Like, help me like stay calm for the next kiddo and like whatever.
唔用成就同表現嚟衡量自己嘅價值，樂兒已經喺基督信仰裏面揾到佢嘅身份。
I am a child of God. Like, doesn't matter the job or like the grade or whatever it is that I end up getting or doing in the future. For like treasuring me as someone who's like so precious, just like always unconditionally like being there, take me into his arms and taking the next step with me.
上帝會即係揸住隻手過去咯。有時都唔明點解過到去嘅，咁我覺得都係上帝恩典咯。
Thank you, God, for loving me. Thank you, God, for saving me. And thank you, God, for never leaving me. He was the same yesterday, like today and tomorrow. God is always a good shepherd who's watching after and who will like kind of rope you back in when you've gone too far.
這夜來到盡頭，你大能是拯救，張開眼，更相信主的愛多深厚。這黑暗必粉碎，哭泣也將消去，放下前慮，抹去往日眼淚，耶穌給釋放，人從今不沮喪，來重新主興起發光。 都變新的了，給釋放，人從今不沮喪，來重新主興起發光，一切都變新的了。
昔日以運動成績嚟證明自己，以致陷入生命低谷嘅何樂兒。 今日已經走出黑暗，積極開拓自己嘅人生。樂兒認定佢係極為寶貴，因為佢就係上帝所深愛嘅女兒。
破碎的我已被尋獲，神在陶造前面開路，賦予給我全新方向。
多謝大家收睇《恩雨之聲》。 如果想更多了解呢一個節目，歡迎打嚟我哋嘅熱線電話31064444，或者瀏覽我哋嘅節目網頁